So, in episode 129 of Confidence Coaching with Heidi Benjaminson, I talk with you about how to not use guilt with our children to get them to do things for us or just to do anything, maybe to even do things for other people. When we use guilt, what we end up doing is, first of all, it's a very immature way of communicating with other people. It's not us taking responsibility for our emotions, and it doesn't project confidence to other people. It's very much not staying in our own lanes. And it ends up creating resentment and a lot of disconnection. And guilt is something that we use commonly with people that are closest to us because we want them to be happy. They want us to be happy. And often it's an emotional fuel that works. It just doesn't get us the ultimate end result that we do want. Okay. So I want to give you guys I talk in the episode about other examples, and I want to talk with you about what it looks like and what it sounds like to still request things of our teenagers, what it sounds like from guilt and what it sounds like from love, because they sound very, very different. And I want you to get kind of the gist of it. Okay. And just so you know, this is work. Like I can find myself doing it and then I stop and I'm like, wait, I want to do this from love and respect. Because again, whatever I model is what they learn and what they will then reflect back to me. So I'm going to use this example. We recently got a third car. We recently bought a new car, or it's not new, but my husband and I bought the car, and our teenage son, he drives it primarily. And the other night, I needed for my daughter to be picked up. My daughter needed to be picked up at school. And I didn't want to be inconvenienced. I didn't want to leave the house. And he just needed to wait at the school a little bit for her. And I found my brain being like, oh, we buy the car. Okay. So notice how if I asked him to go and pick her up or to stay at the school, notice how all of this sounds, and it's all coming from me trying to make him feel guilty. Okay. We're the ones that buy the car. Like I let you drive it all the time. I've done this. Like you kind of, it all is going back to that. Like you owe me. Okay. And a lot of that too, what's baked into that is like, you don't appreciate that I've bought this car. Like, not that I had said that, but I could easily go to that if it's like, could you please just stay at the school an extra 15 minutes and bring your sister home? Or can you just take her? Again, all of this is kind of going through my mind even before I'm going to ask him. But I did have that like, oh my goodness, like, please do this, right? When we're using guilt, we're also kind of saying, in not necessarily in this situation, but we can be like trying to guilt them, like, if you don't do this, then this other bad thing might happen to me or to someone else, right? That is how we also use guilt, that we're trying to say, if you don't do this, then this thing might happen. Like they don't need to carry around the baggage of that. And notice how so much of this is very victimy mentality. It's victimy uh, energy, right? All of that. We know how that feels. It doesn't feel good inside of us. And it, like, we're making so many projections about what our kids may or may not be thinking. Now, this is what it sounds like from love, because guess what? It's totally okay for me to request that my kids do anything. Um, and that my son stays at the school to bring his sister home or he goes and gets her. Okay. But notice how this is so different. This is me staying in my lane. This is me owning what I need. Hey, I'm asking you, could you please stay at the school an extra 10 minutes and bring her home? Or could you please go and do that? I need to be able to stay here and do this. I would really appreciate it if you could do that. Right. So I'm not going into his lane and saying, oh, you don't appreciate that we've done this. Because guess what? I know he totally does appreciate that. But it's me also saying, I need this. Okay. That's a much more vulnerable place, right? I would appreciate this. I really need you to do this. Love also, as soon as I need something, love is going to sound like me letting him know, oh, I might need this. I think I'm going to need you to do this. I would really appreciate if you did this. There's so much respect in the words I'm using. I'm not projecting anything negative to him. I'm not projecting that he wouldn't want to do it. I'm also appreciating, hey, I know you've had a really long day. As soon as you guys get home, can you please wait for her? We're going to be doing this. I really appreciate it, right? There's so much respect that I'm showing to him. And he then, I know, is going to show that back to me. This, when we're not guilt tripping, we know we're staying in our lane. We're showing up as a much more emotionally mature and responsible person. We then become the hero. We're much more anchored in how we show up because we're doing it from a place of what we need and how we feel. Again, no projecting what the other person might feel or some perceived bad outcome that might come. Now, my son then, he could come back and say different things, and we then might have to have a negotiation or however it's going to go after that. But if I can always stay in my lane and take responsibility for that, I then get to make the request, but it always needs to come from respect. It feels so much better if in every relationship, we're not out there trying to keep score. Because we don't want our children to be emotionally unable to have conversations in the world. We want them to be able to talk about conflicts. We want them to be able to express what their needs are and take responsibility from their emotions. Okay. If you would like any help and would like personalized coaching to figure out your emotions and how you're showing up with your children, sign up for a free consult call. I have one opening for private coaching. Sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com.